Okay, before starting, let's be clear. I want to stop the suffering that can come from losing your life savings potentially. And I want to warn investors before that happens. Okay, I want to create one place where investors can be warned, receive some forewarning before becoming involved with people and companies where that can happen. Okay, that's why I want to stay in business doing this long term. I want to have complete and much more publicity that this help is available. Hello again. I hope you're doing well. My name is Calvin Edwards from Specialties Business Development, representing now the Central Investors Best Interest Center. Okay. I want to follow and expose scam artists better than what an individual, especially, but also the public, can do on their own. Okay, I want to assist investors in exposing scam artists, make exposing scam artists possible. Okay, I want to make the exposure of scam artists and the warning of investors possible here. Rather than having the investor have to perform the actions of his own, I want to provide him help in exposing scam artists rather than being on his own. I want to make the actions of a personal scam artist are punished, but I also want to make certain those involved with scam artists, such as companies they've worked for and people that have worked for companies they've worked for, that they will also be exposed and punished here. As I mentioned, the government has to wait for a scam artist to actually do something wrong and concentrate on that particular case. I want to warn scam artists and warn victims about scam artists and expose them before they have a chance to strike again and create more victims. This is something the government cannot do. The government cannot actually make it where their friends and associates have negative consequences attached to them from their involvement with scam artists, okay? So we want scam artists to suffer, but also companies and other people involved in actions they've been involved with to suffer without actually having to wait for them to create their own victims. So we all know a big problem for investors is scam artists are always moving from place to place. People never know where scam artists are. They're always switching jobs. They often are always switching activities. Okay, so this makes this lack of being able to find them is their greatest assets. Because we don't know where scam artists are, it's difficult to effectively target and make warnings where needed. Okay, that's why the Central Investors Best Interest Center exists. The Central Investors Best Interest Center must survive long term because it can be I wanted to make it one central place to find scam artists and expose them. The exposure will last their entire careers. Exposure that will prevent them from getting new jobs. Exposure that will prevent them from opening new business. Okay, because scam artists are always moving from place to place, and are always switching from jobs and moving from companies and starting new companies and new undertakings. That's why we want to centrally isolate them in one place. Okay, we target the situation. Okay, if a person or a company has been involved with fraud, or a person has associated with fraud, all of this, it's almost certain they have not changed. It's almost certain scam artists are flocking with other scam artists who are creating their own victims, who are likely to create their own scam companies. Okay, so we provide the warnings right here. Okay, and the warning simply do not do business with anyone you see or hear here. Okay, anyone you see pictured here, any company you see pictured or mentioned here, anyone you see associated with the scam artist. This we believe will be better than what's available because the government has to only concentrate on one, can only concentrate on one specific person. Okay, so remember, remember, I started off doing investors' best interest interviews, but now to be even more impactful, I believe, I am concentrating on exposing dangerous financial criminals in one central place to prevent them from creating victims, to prevent fraud before it happens. Okay, it's difficult to pin down scam artists because they're constantly changing jobs, changing locations, and changing activities. So we pin them down here in one central place. You don't have to go find the scam artists. You can come here to find them, companies they've been associated with, and also other scam artists that being people they've probably been associated with, but we can already label them as scam artists. Okay, for investors' protection, stay away from them. This is something the government cannot do. Okay, so we believe here scam artists will be publicly exposed and followed better. All right, thank you again. I'm Calvin Edwards, Special Needs Business Development, representing the Central Investors Best Interest Center. Thank you again.